He is the host of the Nothing Personal podcast and former executive with the Florida Marlins. David Samson back here on the Rich Eisen Show. How you been, David?
I am doing well, Rich. Good to hear from you.
What'd you make of last night's All-Star game? What'd you think?
I loved it. I loved the chance for Julio Rodriguez. I loved the chance for Shohei Ohtani.
Oh, yeah.
Begging him, imploring him to come to Seattle. I loved the chance about selling the team for Oakland. I loved the excitement, the possibility of the walk-off by Julio at the end. It was great.
What do you think Manfred thought of it, sitting there hearing those chants? What do you think?
Does not make him happy. I've sat with him when there have been chants or boos. He doesn't enjoy that. But he's pretty good about trying to separate it, though maybe gotten a little bit worse as the years have passed. In the beginning, it would be absolutely sloughed off, and now I think it impacts him a little more. This Oakland situation has just been a disaster from a PR standpoint.
Well, I mean, it's happening, right? I mean, the A's are gone. I can't imagine how, they wind up staying in Oakland long term based on anything that's happening right now, right? This thing's toast. David.
No, I actually don't agree. I'm one of the few who have been saying from the beginning, this is what I did trying to get a new ballpark for Miami, is we went right to the edge of relocation.
Okay.
Right to the edge, like almost tipped our toes in the Vegas waters. It's what you may remember the San Francisco Giants did this. They were moved to Tampa. It was a done deal. And then all of a sudden they had a ballpark deal in San Francisco. The White Sox back in the day were going to move to Tampa also. Tampa was the stalking horse for all these different teams. I still think there's a chance. As a matter of fact, the mayor met with the commissioner in Seattle in an effort to show the commissioner how much public money they're willing to give to keep the A's.
Right. And so, but the commissioner has basically come out and said it's a done deal, essentially. I guess anybody could reverse course. Walk me through how you see the A's could stay in Oakland. A deal would have to fall apart in Vegas. The political atmosphere in Nevada basically blows it up. I mean, is that what happens? Or walk me through your thought process.
No, they got the public money they wanted out of Nevada, and they got it in a way that it's not specifically for the Oakland A's, actually. It's for a Major League Baseball team. So Nevada and Las Vegas are perfectly primed and ready to be an expansion opportunity, and MLB wants to expand. That's the number one issue for the commissioner. And he came out and said no expansion until Oakland and Tampa are taken care of. But what he didn't say is there's other teams with stadium issues once Oakland and Tampa are done. You've got Milwaukee. You've got Arizona. It'll be a whole new cycle of new stadiums and threats. It's the endless cycle. And so in Oakland, the way a deal could come together is they haven't yet done any agreements in Nevada. No construction agreements, no operating agreements, no non-relocation agreements. We had to negotiate for over a year with the county and the city in Miami for agreements that are inches thick, hundreds and hundreds of pages, and it's not done in Vegas. And there's a lot of progress on the Howard Terminal. So I think it just takes a conversation between John Fisher and Rob Manfred to get Oakland back on the front burner for Oakland.
And they'd have to want to do that, though, right? Do you think they want to do that deep down, heart of hearts? They'd hit a reset button on it, David?
No, I don't think that's
right.
What John Fisher wants. But at some point, the owners have the bigger say. So if John Fisher doesn't have the votes, he needs 23 votes to relocate to Vegas. And owners don't like rewarding other owners unless it's been earned. We never would have been allowed to relocate the Marlins. We had not been in the game long enough, and we knew that. So it was an empty threat when we were threatening relocation because we knew we didn't have the votes. I'm not so positive John Fisher has the votes right now to take away an expansion market.
Well, David, I want to make sure that you're leaving this show in a few minutes better than what I just found you. So I say this in that spirit. Maybe the Marlins didn't move to Vegas is because you pronounced Nevada, which pisses people in Nevada off significantly. I know you went to Cardozo. You might have picked it up there back east. But I just want to make sure you understand. I don't want people to be pissed. Nothing personal, as they say on your pod, but it's Nevada, David.
So I will go with Nevada from now on.
You have to. Trust me. You do not want to piss these people off. They get
How do
very
you say
upset.
the city in Kentucky where they make bats?
Louisville.
Okay. That's what I say, Louisville.
You have to. It's not Louisville. That pisses them off. Okay,
Louisville.
It's Louisville. By the way, I would on SportsCenter whenever I talked about Denny Crum's team or whatever, I wrote it down on my script, LOU-Ville. That's how I did it, so you understand. Also, Stuart Scott wrote Booyah, Booyow, BOO-YOW. Just want to let you know that too, David. Okay.
There has to be a top 5 list of cities that are mispronounced.
Yes.
And I assume Louisville and the state of Nevada
There you go.
are on that list.
David Samson, the coachable David Samson here
Takes
on the
notes.
Rich Eisen Show. Okay, what is happening in the front offices of the Los Angeles Angels today, the day after Seattle fans are chanting for Ohtani? Chants are great, but Ohtani saying through his interpreter, losing sucks. The Angels know that. They're one game under 500 now, and Mike Trout is out for the foreseeable future. What is happening in that front office, do you think, today, David Samson?
They're approaching Artie Moreno, as they do every year, with a possible plan, and Artie Moreno tends to veto such plan. He doesn't want to be the owner who traded the best player who ever played baseball. He doesn't want to get it wrong, and he wants to believe that he can re-sign Ohtani. I think it's practically malpractice not to trade him, but I predicted on Nothing Personal that he won't get traded. The Angels are very unlikely to make the playoffs. They could go on a run maybe, but it's unlikely in the American League. He is a wild card. And so why not try to get something for Ohtani and do a Chapman? When the Yankees traded him to the Cubs, he won the World Series with the Cubs, and then they re-signed him as a free agent. I believe that the Angels could still do that with Ohtani, but I don't believe Moreno has the guts to trade him.
Well, what would it net him back? You know, A-Rod said on the pregame show last night, hey, if I'm Seattle, I trade for Ohtani right now. And my thought would be, if I'm the Angels, to trade him in division, I'd have to ask for either Luis Castillo, or I'd even say, screw it, I'll ask for J-Rod. You know what I mean? Like, this is Ohtani.
You're not going to get that.
No, I get it, but so then they're not getting Ohtani. Then I'll let him walk, I guess, or I will trade him somewhere else. You know, and the question is if he is a rental, what does the rental of the world's rarest, most expensive, most wanted car look like to you?
So a couple
of
things I just want to address is that now that the schedule is balanced, it's not as big a thing to trade in your division. That used to be a very big thing with owners. They never wanted to trade, like the Yankees wouldn't trade with the Mets, even though that's not division. Or Jeffrey Loria, our owner, would say, we're not trading with the Braves or the Mets. That really isn't as big a thing as it used to be.
Okay.
But the rental concept, Rich, that's the big deal, is how do you value a player when you may only have him for a few months? And the first thing that you ask during the negotiation is you ask for a window to negotiate. And I don't think Ohtani will sign a deal with anybody who trades for him, but you ask for that window, and even that permission is worth an extra player when you're negotiating a trade.
Huh. Okay. So give me an idea of what a trade for Ohtani, the rental, would look like, David.
2 prospects in a team's top 30 and 2 major league ready players off your team. That's it. It's a trade where you can say, if you're the Angels, that we have players for our future, we have players for now, and our full intent is to re-sign Ohtani. And for the team that acquires him, they get to say to their fan base, hey, we're going for it. We're all in. Look what we traded. We traded 4 players for a guy who may play 70 games for us. And once you're in the playoffs, it's a crapshoot whether you're going to win the World Series. You know that. It takes a lot of luck to actually get the ring. And so you're risking trading away a lot of your system for a very short-term rental. So the real value for Ohtani would have been last year, the way the Nationals traded Soto and got all those players, because the Padres had so many years with him. The people who get Ohtani, you got a few months. It's not enough.
So, a couple questions following up there. The 2 major league ready players, are one of them all-star caliber? I mean, because again, I understand you're just getting Ohtani for 2 months, but it's Ohtani you're getting for 2 months. You're not just you're getting an ace pitcher, and you're getting a thumper, and you're getting a guy who can go from first to third and could go from second to home. You don't have to pinch run. I mean, he is the true unicorn that you're getting.
He certainly is.
And
The way
fannies
we
in
would
the
do it-
seats, asses in the seats. I mean, so you'd have to get at least an all-star caliber player back, no, for him?
So not for a rental. So the way we would do it is on the board. It's actually 2 trades. We would look at trading Ohtani the pitcher and Ohtani the hitter, and what would each of those in a deadline deal, a rental deadline deal, what would that get? And you could say it would get you 1 good prospect, 1 medium prospect, and 1 other body. So there is a world where it's 6-1, 6 players for 1, with 2 top prospects, 2 middle prospects, and then 2 others, sometimes even window dressing. But that sort of number is what makes sense to me. But again, Soto was worth more than Ohtani is now. Even though Ohtani is a way better player and he's 2 players, the extra time in uniform actually trumps the difference in talent.
David Samson, Nothing Personal podcast, host as well as former Marlins president here on the Rich Eisen Show. So then you also said when you threw that potential deal for Ohtani out there, from the Angels' perspective, saying our intent is to still re-sign him. Do you think the Angels would have a better shot at keeping Ohtani if they looked him in the face and said, look, Trout broke his hand. We get it. We want you to be with a winner. We want you to taste winning, but we're coming for you. We still want you. Do you think that's possible? That it would be better for them to trade him out of love rather than hold on to him and hope? What do you think about that, David? Is that what you're implying?
I love that. I actually talked about it on Nothing Personal, that exact scenario where Artie or somebody, it could be Perry, but goes to Shohei and says, listen, where do you want to go? We want to give you this gift. We'll figure out a trade to the team you want to go to. The player empowerment, the likes of which you only see in the NBA. We'll do it for you right here, but I want to know that we're in the game. If you're telling me that there is no chance that you will come back, then I'm less inclined to do what you want here. But if you're willing and want to, and if you want to stay with us, great. We'll skip getting the 6 assets. You tell me, Shohei, what you want. I would do that to the player, even though it goes against my views of player empowerment.
Well, and obviously it would be easier to do that if you trusted the player and his representative, or you truly understood his intent and his inner workings and the way he ticks. We had Pedro Martinez on yesterday, David, and he said, Ohtani's so nice, he will never ask out. He will never say, this isn't working for me. Losing sucks. I want out of here. So what do you know about Ohtani's intention? Who is his agent? What are they doing behind the scenes at all?
So I don't know Ohtani. I know Ichiro very well. And so I can tell you that the level of respect that Ichiro has for the game is very likely shared by Ohtani.
Mm-hmm.
The way that Ichiro respects management, respects his teammates, understands the process, never wants to ruffle feathers of any kind. I can imagine Shohei being that way. But if you are Shohei's agent, you have begun the process. So tampering goes on all the time. We would speak to agents about players on other teams all the time.
Yeah.
And it was normal. Everybody was. And so you've got to understand what the market is, and you've got to give your player, meaning Shohei, all of the opportunities that he wants, which is to go to a team that's going to win, go to a team that can still have a high payroll even while paying him 50 or 60 or 70 a year, and being in a city where he's comfortable. And the agent is in position to know that better than anybody.
David Samson here on the Rich Eisen Show. So I guess just to wrap up this conversation, the Angels going into the season, their hope was Trout, Rendon, Ohtani, all the rest of the kids that we have. It's going to blossom. It's going to bloom. Phil Nevin's going to do it. We're going to go to the playoffs. Ohtani's going to see what it feels like to go to the playoffs here. Who knows how far we go, but it'll be great, and that'll be easier to re-sign him. That bird has flown. I think that is not happening. That is now fantasy land, and it's certainly, I think, settled into the minds of everybody involved when the hamate bone inside Trout's hand broke. So what happens now? That best case scenario for the Angels is gone. What is the best case scenario for the Los Angeles Angels right now with Ohtani, do you think?
It's that there was a deal in place when he came from Japan, and something that the commissioner sent us all a memo about, saying if you have a deal in place with Ohtani that is for his free agent years, we're going to find you and you're going to be in violation of the rules, and we're going to punish you. We all thought that the Angels had violated that when he chose the Angels. As you recall, it was not like a dice case situation. He didn't have a huge signing bonus. We were all competitive. The Marlins could have signed Ohtani. It was all about where Ohtani wanted to be. And we were told you can't promise him anything. But we thought Artie Moreno did. We're going to find out soon enough whether he did and how much money actually Ohtani may or may not have been promised. So where this goes is fascinating. Everybody's watching it within baseball and outside of baseball. Frankly, it's the biggest story right now in baseball.
Well, whatever Moreno may have offered him, okay, allegedly, not factually reported.
Correct. Correct.
It certainly can't be worth what he's worth now, honestly. So
maybe it was just an option, and he could opt out.
So what would if this in fact happened, David? What would that look like? What would the evidence, the fingerprint, be for something like that?
It's almost impossible, and because in the scenario where you can catch someone doing something nefarious, it would be if Ohtani were hurt or wasn't a good player and all of a sudden got this large contract that didn't seem to fit the talent. That would be the smoking gun. That's what baseball would be looking for out of the Angels. Now, if you give Ohtani $700 million over 7 years, it would be hard to argue that, that was a predetermined deal.
Well, it wouldn't have been that, right? So the evidence would be if it's $400 million, right? If he takes a hometown discount to stay there, I don't think he will. I mean, honestly, he may be a sweetheart of a guy, but this contract could start with a 7, and I don't think anyone would bat an eyelash, right?
So you're saying something really funny, which is imagine now, given Ohtani, if he signed a $200 million 10-year deal.
Yeah, right.
Then we look and say, wait a minute, that can't be right.
Yeah, that reeks of 2018. That reeks of something that happened a long time ago, you know?
Exactly. So we're going to wait to see. It's going to be fascinating to watch. But Ohtani, to me, is going to break the record because you're signing 2 players. He takes up 2 spots, which is what you want. You can pay a 26th man the minimum because he is top of the rotation starter and a middle of the rotation bat, all in one player. The long-term part is the problem because it's hard to imagine, while it's been 3 years in a row, how many more years can he do this? Can this really be his entire career? That's a bet that's really hard to make, but owners will be willing to forget the last 4 years of a long-term deal and hope that he's good at one of the 2 things.
David Samson.
That would be a bonus.
Yeah, that would be. No question about that. David Samson, before I let you go, news breaking out of New York City, out of the Bronx, New York. The Yankees have made a deal with Star, 2 R's if you're scoring at home, I believe, Insurance. And their deal with Star Insurance must be so insanely lucrative because they're putting the logo of this insurance company on the uniform, on the friggin' Yankees uniform. Do we need to take up
20 to 25?
Does Hal need the money? Like, really? Like, what is this about, do you think, David? Seriously.
I'm not familiar with what you're asking because that's like saying when a company is profitable, does it not do something to make more profit? Of course they do. So you're always looking for new revenue streams.
Right.
And so this is a revenue stream available to the Yankees that is not owned by Major League Baseball, so they don't split it 30 ways. So they're going to capitalize on it, much like they are on owning their own streaming service through Yes Network. So the fact that they can get 20 to 25 million is a real problem for baseball because it, again, separates the haves from the have-nots even further. The Marlins deal with ADT, I promise you, is not $20 million a year.
Well, I don't think it's going to be a problem for baseball, David, because Cashman will spend it on one guy who can't hit the curve, right? He's going to be all or nothing at the plate. We know that.
That's still a problem, right?
Or who'll be have 2 or 3 trips to the injured list. We all know that's what will happen with that extra cash. So what do they care? I wouldn't bat an eye.
You can't say that because they don't sign the right players that the ability to sign the players to begin with should be discounted.
Oh,
that doesn't seem fair.
Excellent pushback, David. I appreciate you pointing that out. But Honestly, though, I mean, the tradition, and I that doesn't matter. Or is this like a larger deal that has to do with another business outside of the Yankees? You know what I'm saying? Like he's growing more than just the pie for, a revenue where he doesn't care about a luxury tax. You know what I mean? Like we might be seeing that. I don't know. I don't. Not to get too conspiratorial, although it's his business, he could do it. He does business with Jerry Jones and names stadiums and does all those deals. Could that be part of this? I don't know. Because why the hell put a patch on the Yankee uniform? What are they doing?
Because they can. Remember, it was not allowed before. This is a new revolution. Wait till you see the helmet patches. Those are coming. Just you wait.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Helmet patches. Advertisements on the helmet.
Where's that going? Side, front? Where are we going? Back?
I think it would have to be side or back. I think side. They do it internationally. Right now, baseball allows it internationally.
Yes.
They're going to start allowing it teams. Just wait.
Like a NASCAR helmet. That's what you're saying.
I think it'll only be one.
Okay, just one.
I picture NASCAR helmets as having like 12 spots.
Well, if they start looking like the Wolverine helmet, then we got a problem. Like if a guy with who's got 15 touchdowns for the Wolverines, it fills up his entire helmet. Oh, God.
You just changed my life, Rich. Is that what those stickers are, that every time you score a touchdown, you get the sticker?
Same thing with a Buckeye, everything, yeah. Or you do something well on the field, good tackle, good moment in practice, you get a sticker. That's what it is.
Oh, so it's not just touchdowns. It's any time. Who's in charge of the stickers?
I don't know. That's a good question. Coach, somebody. It's not me. I know that. I definitely know it's not me. Oh, it's.
I don't think the MLB helmets will look like that.
No, I know. David, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Congrats on the success of your pod again. And let's do this again very shortly. Appreciate it.
I look forward to it. Have a great day.
Right back at you. That's David Samson, everybody. Right here on The Rich Eisen Show. Catch The Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.